And that's how I look at it. What makes him get more respect than me? You my next door neighbor, you know what I tell him? You got yours from your family. I got mine from the ground up, from hard work and dedication.
Mayweather is one of the greatest ever. He's a brilliant defensive fighter. His speed, his boxing savvy. He's just a savant. He's just something special. No question about it. But I got to look at the Sugar Ray Leonards of the world.
Floyd's way is safe. Not in a punk, but it's like the safe way, like nothing ain't gonna go wrong. But that's how he fight. That's his characteristic.
Floyd Mayweather bursts out in anger after StephenASmith questions his legacy, claiming that Terence Crawford could actually defeat him. Smith insists that Mayweather is far from the greatest fighter of all time despite Floyd's own belief, and argues that Sugar Ray Leonard stood on a much higher level. He goes on to say that Mayweather's most meaningful victories came only in the lightweight division and that he never truly reigned at the higher weights. Even the Canelo win, according to Smith, wasn't that remarkable. Remarks that instantly triggered outrage from Mayweather, who refuses to let such dismissive criticism pass unanswered.
Not just about your skill set. It's who you do it against.
Your level of competition. Is it possible that he's so far beyond his level of competition that he made it look easy?
Well, I think he did as a lightweight. When he went up to the welterweight division, not so much. You know what I'm saying? Now, if
taking out Canelo the way he took out.
Well, he just gave him a boxing lesson, but Canelo was 22 years old. See, I remember
That's an excuse, though.
Well,
I don't like this, like he's 22, he's too young.
I will tell you this. Well, you know, you do have to take that into consideration.
The guy had 100 fights.
Well, let me explain. You have to take that into consideration when boxing is the issue. Now, if he got knocked on his ass, that's different. But when he simply got schooled, when you swinging a punch and Floyd is tapping you on your shoulder saying, I'm behind you, that's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? That's just a skill, like, you know,
Well, we could credit Floyd with that.
Of course, I am crediting. I'm saying he's a brilliant boxer. You know, Floyd knew how to move before you even threw the damn punch. You see what I'm saying? You got to be a veteran to know how to overcome that. You can't put a novice into the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather. You understand? He's going to school you. What I'm saying to you is that if you want to make an argument on Floyd Money Mayweather's half, which I'm not summarily dismissing, I would tell you it's this. Floyd Money Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand. He constantly broke his hand.
Yud Bey offered a thoughtful breakdown of Floyd Mayweather versus Terence Crawford after Crawford's stunning performance against Canelo Alvarez. While admitting that, as a fan, he might slightly lean toward Crawford in an imagined showdown, he emphasized the importance of keeping the comparison fair. Crawford's victory over Canelo was undeniably extraordinary, leading many to claim it surpassed anything Mayweather ever accomplished. Yet Bey reminded everyone that Floyd had already dominated Canelo years earlier, back when Canelo was still developing as a fighter. He stressed that dismissing Floyd's greatness just to elevate Crawford is misleading, since both men brought their own unique brilliance to the sport. In Bey's view, the truth rests in the middle. Crawford deserves full credit for handling Canelo so decisively, but Mayweather's commanding win over him was just as historic and must never be overlooked.
That Bud goes about it a little bit better than Floyd in this sense. Floyd will when Floyd fought Canelo, he was standing right there. He wasn't running and all of that. He wasn't doing all of the stuff that they say, oh, runner, Mayweather's a runner. He wasn't doing that versus Canelo. He was right there. And I can't even really remember Canelo catching him like that, like with nothing. With Bud, I could remember Canelo catching Bud a couple times, but Bud gave him the, all right, put your foot out. What's up? Boxing turn, boxing turn, boxing turn. And was really standing there and giving it to him with another type of energy. The energy is more so all right, what's up? You can't beat me. Floyd energy be bop, bop, I'm better than you. You see what I'm saying? They don't really be respecting that all the time. They'll acknowledge it yo, I ain't gonna lie, he hard to catch. But they be nah, you didn't beat me up. Bud go about his fights in a way where as though the Mexican fan base gotta be I ain't gonna lie, Canelo, he hollered at you. He came at you too. He didn't just be better than you. He was better, and then he was all right, I'm gonna come at you. And I think they really respect that. Shit, I respect it. I don't think it's not, I think the less you get hit, the better. I'm always gonna take it that way. So, you know what I'm saying? as a boxing fan, the kind of boxing fan that I am, I would have linked towards Floyd's performance, but Bud's performance was like, if I'm a casual fan, I'd rather watch the way Bud do it.
Trainer Boosie Ennis spoke with fire in his voice about Terence Crawford's place in boxing, firing back at those who question his accomplishments. He made it clear that Crawford has repeatedly shown he belongs among the greatest of this generation, praising his fearless willingness to take on challenges regardless of the opponent. Ennis pointed out that Crawford never shied away from dangerous fights and, in fact, seems to thrive when the stakes are highest. That's what sets him apart from so many others. By constantly testing himself against the very best, Crawford has secured his spot among the sport's elite. Ennis urged that instead of downplaying Crawford's legacy, people should acknowledge that few fighters in history have matched his mix of versatility, courage, and consistent success.
He could have got the stoppage. He'll tell you that if he had to sit down a little bit more. But I tell you, Terence can fight and he can box. And he can fight. He'll fight this side. He take chances, man. You know what I mean? And that's how you be great, man. And he one of the greatest out there now. I think he's great. I think he's the best out there right now in that division. You know what I mean?
What's left?
For Terence?
Yeah.
If I was Terence, I would retire. That's what I would do. He did everything, man. He's done everything, man. You know what I mean? Look how many titles he done won. All that stuff, you know what I mean? I think I'll go off one in the sunset, man. You know what I mean? You don't need no more money. You know what I mean?
Crawford's longtime trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, expressed confidence that his fighter still has a few monumental moments ahead of him. He suggested that Crawford could step into the ring for 2 or 3 more bouts before even thinking about retirement. Bomac floated the idea of Crawford moving up to 160 pounds, explaining that the move wouldn't just be about collecting belts, it would be about strengthening a legacy that is already Hall of Fame material. He emphasized that Crawford has already etched his name into history by becoming undisputed across multiple divisions and delivering career-defining victories. Still, the prospect of conquering higher weight classes excites both the team and the fans. According to Bomac, Crawford isn't chasing validation anymore. He's cementing his standing among the sport's immortals, daring to pursue challenges that only the greatest fighters in history have ever embraced.
The second time. They can't take it away from him, neither.
Does this one mean more to you than the other ones?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It gives us the opportunity as a team to go into the Hall of Fame. Instead of a fighter going in there, instead of a coach going in there, it gives us a better chance of going there as a team.
Well, congrats on that. I know that means a lot to you and the team.
Definitely that.
You know, I asked Bud this after the fight 2 weeks ago. Would he consider this his signature win? He said, yeah, one of them. Do you think that was his signature win of his career?
Well, the last fight?
Yeah, the Canelo win.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was the underdog. Everybody thought that, you know, he was going to get beat.
What's up?
That he was going to get beat. It surprised me.
So what's next for Bud? What do you want to see him do?
I just want to see him, you know, spend time with his family because, you know, training for a fight, you be gone a long time. You're going away from the family. And it could take a toll on you after a while. So,
as his trainer, do you feel like you should just sail off into the sunset after this monumental
well,
win?
you know what? They made it look so easy. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Shit, got 2, 3 more in him and shit. You know what I'm saying? Training camp will try harder. You know what I'm saying?
Timothy Bradley spoke with deep emotion about the impact Terence Crawford has had on the sport, explaining how many young fighters wrestle with self-doubt, especially when their progress is constantly questioned by critics. Crawford, he said, stands as living proof of what perseverance and determination can accomplish. From the very start, when skeptics doubted him, Crawford silenced them time and again with his performances inside the ring. Bradley highlighted how Crawford's journey has become a beacon for the next generation, showing that the impossible can be achieved, becoming a multiple-time undisputed champion across divisions. To Bradley, Crawford's story is bigger than wins and titles. It symbolizes belief, bravery, and the triumph of hard work over criticism. Today, young fighters don't just see Crawford as a champion, but as a true role model who embodies the unbreakable spirit of never giving up.
And you have become. You're a true inspiration to the youth, man. Anybody that's troubled, any troubled kid out there, man, they can look at you and say, hey, man, I got a fighting chance to get myself out the situation. All I got to do is make that choice. That's what you did, Crawford. You made that choice, man. You made that choice to change, bro. You know, you saw going down, man, years ago, man, in 2008, man, when that bullet came through that window, you knew you had to do something or you'll end up 6 feet under, bro. You know, so that courage that you had, man, and that will that you had and that mindset of change, man, and the gym, you know, grooming you and turning you into a man, because that's what boxing does. See, people don't understand, man, that boxing is more than just throwing punches. You know, boxing teaches you discipline. You know, it teaches you love for people, love for others, man. You know, working together. You know, you're there constantly every single day, man. You know, spending time there perfecting a craft, man. Perfecting yourself, understanding yourself, learning more about yourself each and every single day. You push it inside the gym. You know, boxing is more than just throwing punches, man. You know,
Floyd Mayweather's story went far beyond the boundaries of boxing itself. As Oladipo explained, he masterfully crafted two distinct identities, Pretty Boy Floyd and Money Mayweather, both of which captivated the world. In his early days, Pretty Boy Floyd was the fearless warrior, taking risks and delivering explosive knockouts that thrilled fans. Later, Money Mayweather emerged, a shrewd businessman and defensive genius who transformed every bout into a global spectacle. His unmatched pay-per-view dominance and self-promotion turned him into a phenomenon bigger than the sport. Oladipo praised Floyd's brilliance not just inside the ropes, but also outside them, noting how he pioneered a business model that modern fighters still chase. By combining flawless skill with showmanship, Mayweather rose beyond being just a champion. He became a cultural icon and the architect of boxing's new financial era.
I'm sorry. He's a genius. He is a fucking... You know, when I get bored with today's crop of boxers, and Terence, to be fair, has kind of helped me out of my boredom, but sometimes I just go on YouTube and I watch the 24/7s and then I watch the fight. I'm not joking. I watch the whole fucking episodes and then I watch the fight. And my guy is a genius. A genius. There will always be an argument, oh, you should have fought that person then. And I get it. I get it. Right? It's kind of the argument you can't throw at Muhammad Ali, right? You could throw that argument at Floyd. But dude, unbeaten is unbeaten. Unbeaten is unbeaten. Multi-weight world champion is multi-weight world champion. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen a boxer so like, I'm going to work you out, and then when I work you out, you're done. Shall I repeat that? I'm going to work you out, and when I work you out, you're done. And Floyd had this thing where first 2 rounds, you think, oh, shit, man, this guy's in this fight, and then he works you out. And then he works you out. Floyd, Pretty Boy Floyd was better than Money, but Money Floyd had, obviously, the fights, right?
Despite Terence Crawford's breathtaking victory over Canelo, his future has become the center of heated debate. Some within his own camp believe he should walk away now to protect the legacy he has already built, arguing that his greatness is unquestionable and he has nothing left to prove. Yet critics still try to downplay his triumph, suggesting he should step aside before time chips away at his reputation. This divide has sparked tension, as many insist Crawford still has so much more to give. His latest performances show no signs of slowing down, and fans are eager to see him take on even bigger challenges. Retirement may be on the table, but regardless of his choice, Crawford's place among the all-time greats is already secure, and nothing can erase the historic mark he has left on the sport.
The fact that Terence Crawford did what he did against Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford made himself the face of boxing, and he did it. He made it look easy. He made the Errol Spence fight look easy. That was supposed to be the toughest test of his career. I thought it was. The whole world thought it was. It was the easiest fight he had at welterweight. I thought, but I've been saying for years that he's going to easily beat Canelo Alvarez, and he did. But many people expected Canelo to knock him out. That wasn't the case. With that said, now people are trying to throw He's 38. Tomorrow, Terence Crawford will be 38 years old. He's a 5-division champion. If he wants to stick around, like Terence Crawford stated, okay, Terence Crawford stated, if I do stick around, I'm not dropping down no further than 160 pounds. If he stays in boxing, I say he have 2 more fights. Fight Janibek, who's the unified champion. Hopefully Carlos Adames and Lara fight and unify the belts. 2 fights at 160, pad the stats, become a 6-division champion and a 4-division undisputed champion. Cool. Other than that, Terence Crawford needs to retire.
Trainer Robert Garcia shared his thoughts on the Mayweather versus Crawford debate, pointing out that while Mayweather's undefeated record and career success are extraordinary, he never became an undisputed champion, a milestone both Crawford and Pacquiao reached. Garcia admitted that this fact makes Crawford's resume historically powerful, yet when comparing the two head-to-head, he still leaned toward Mayweather. He explained that Floyd's unmatched defense, precision timing, and sharp ring IQ would present challenges even a fighter as gifted as Crawford would struggle to solve. To Garcia, what truly separates Mayweather is his ability to completely shut down opponents, making him one of the toughest matchups imaginable. While he holds great respect for Crawford's accomplishments, Garcia believes Mayweather's flawless fundamentals and strategic brilliance secure his place above nearly every fighter, past or present.
Man, he doesn't need it anymore.
With his accomplishments, the only man to ever do 3 weight divisions undisputed. Is he now a part of the greatest of all time conversation? And not of this era, but of all time.
Definitely is the greatest, one of the greatest of all times. You know, there's still greats out there. There's still, you know, his era or last era, you know, with the Mayweathers, with the Pacquiaos. I think he's, you know, already accomplished more. Pacquiao was 8 divisions, so we could argue there because Pacquiao was, 8 division is almost impossible, and he did it. Mayweather never became undisputed. He's a 5-division champion, but never became undisputed. Never really followed that unification, stuff like that. So I think when it comes to accomplishments, I think he's already done more.
Greg Hackett added depth to the debate by contrasting Floyd Mayweather's display against Canelo with Terence Crawford's recent triumph. He noted that when Floyd faced Canelo, he was already a fully polished fighter, showcasing unmatched composure and precision. In Hackett's eyes, Crawford fights with aggression and adaptability, but he doesn't quite match the flawless execution Mayweather sustained over 12 rounds. He highlighted that Floyd's defensive brilliance and total ring control remain unmatched in boxing history. While Hackett acknowledged Crawford's greatness, he stressed that Mayweather's dominance was on a higher plane. Crawford's explosiveness may be dazzling, but Floyd's calculated mastery against Canelo was closer to perfection. Meanwhile, StephenASmith praised Crawford's victory as one of the most entertaining performances in years, reminding fans that Crawford, the smaller man, moved up to face a naturally bigger and stronger opponent, yet made the bout look one-sided. Smith applauded Crawford not just for his skill, but for delivering a spectacle fans will never forget. He argued that boxing thrives on fighters like Crawford, who combine technical brilliance with showmanship, proving he is more than just a champion. He is an entertainer capable of carrying the sport into the future.
But the biggest props of the night goes to Terence Crawford, who did not disappoint. He was supposed to be the smaller man. He was supposed to be the weaker man. He was supposed to be the man that was going to spend the entire night on his bicycle, running for his damn life because Saul Canelo Alvarez was coming his way. That is not what happened. What happened instead, ladies and gentlemen, was a masterclass in boxing by Terence Crawford. Now, to me, the fight, some people were saying it was a severely lopsided and stuff like that. I'm not going for that. I'm not feeling that at all. It wasn't like that at all, okay?
Veteran journalist Dan Raphael offered a big-picture view of Terence Crawford's career, stressing that he no longer needs to fight to prove anything. Crawford's resume already speaks volumes. Undisputed in multiple weight classes, decisive wins over elite opponents, and a reputation built on sheer dominance. Raphael explained that when a fighter reaches such a level, the focus should move away from validation and toward preserving legacy. He cautioned that chasing unnecessary bouts could risk diminishing what Crawford has already accomplished. Instead, Rafael believes Crawford should embrace the recognition he's earned as one of the sport's all-time greats. With a career marked by historic milestones, his legendary status is secure. Whether he chooses to keep fighting or walk away now,
but he stood in the pocket, like he's not moving anywhere from him. He's using his head moving, he's not being stupid, but he's not necessarily moving away from Canelo. Like you said, he's walking the, quote unquote, bigger man down and forcing the action rather than going off, reacting to Canelo's attacks. So I think it was such an impressive display, but it sort of begs the question now, when you've a 3-time undisputed champion, I know money's important, financials, we always talk about that. His legacy is intact regardless. We'll start with Terence. What does a Terence Crawford do now? Like, what's the next thing that he does? Because you look around and go, is the only way that he really gets that, maybe that ultimate chance if he goes up again? And do you say, what do you do?
I don't quite. Yeah, I mean, he was asked those questions at the press conference. He made 2 things clear. One, he's not going back to 154, and I say that because some people suggested about possibly pursuing a fight with Ennis, who has his debut in the weight class coming up.
Yeah.
That's probably unlikely. He's not going to go back down in weight. And I mean, no disrespect to Ennis, but Ennis is a guy that's known within the diehards of boxing. He's not in any way known beyond the boundaries of the hardcore boxing fan. So I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of different reasons for him. Not to say I wouldn't, as a boxing fan, enjoy watching the fight. So, but I don't think he's going back to 154. He was asked about like a Benavides at 175, and he acknowledged like that guy's really big. I mean, that's maybe a bridge too far. He already went up to 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 68. So it feels to me like he can either stay at 168 and defend this championship and look to the same types of names that were being thrown around as the types of guys that would have been in the mix for Canelo had he won the fight.
That wraps up today's video. Thank you for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more. Until next time.